What do you have in mind for your next move?
Well, if they follow standard Imperial procedure, they'll dump their garbage before they go to lightspeed.
Chapter 5 Franchise History. The history of the Pokemon and Star Wars franchise is eerily similar as well. Both started with beloved original trilogy in games, that being Gen 1 and original trilogy. I think there is a difference though, because the original trilogy aged like fine wine and are still the best Star Wars movie to this day.
I know.
But Generation 1 Pokemon games aged like milk, infested with bugs and glitches. But I don't fault Game Freak for that, because that was a game developed by like 5 amateur guys in harsh conditions on a weak console, so it's understandable. Such contrast from Game Freak's new decked out office they got last year, huh? With the fake plants everywhere. Masuda and Omori have the perfect environment to make love. I mean, make other people make games, yeah. Anyways, time passes and more movies and games come out. Both franchises produce projects that are hated at first that becomes beloved later. The Star Wars prequel trilogy was bombarded by the fans and critics during release for being disappointing compared to the original trilogy. But when all the early Gen Z kids around my age who grew up with the prequels got old enough to go on Reddit and Twitter or write shitty internet news articles, the movies are now heralded as excellent movies. I think the equivalent to that is Generation 5 Pokemon games. Pokemon Black and White and its sequel release was first bombarded by fans because how different it was from the past 4 generations of Pokemon and the ugly Pokemon designs, but now heralded as the best Pokemon games. Difference is, Pokemon Black and White is a good Pokemon game, and Pokemon Black and White 2 is probably the best Pokemon game to ever exist. But the Star Wars prequel trilogy still sucks. No, they're still not good movies even after the sequels, and all of you who say it's good are people who grew up with it or influenced by the ass kissers who grew up with it, or just like the memes from Revenge of the Sith.
Hello there.
Now, before you type your angry comments, just know I'll explain why the prequels suck in more detail in a future video, so save your comments until then.
Oh dear.
And let's look at both franchises now. The Star Wars sequel trilogy is mostly hated by fans except for some weird sympathizers like me. And Pokemon Sword and Shield is mostly hated by fans except for some weird sympathizers that aren't me. Now, only if there was an equivalent Star Wars movie of the worst Pokemon game, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Oh yeah, the Clone Wars theatrical movie, the worst Star Wars movie, exists. I just wish the excellent TV series started by the shitty movie had an equivalent in the Pokemon series, but sadly, no good US Shuan spin-off exists. And after playing it, I can say, this game is fucking horrible! Anyways, both series have similar franchise history, a repeated history of hate and love from the fans. Some things are hated at first, and then a new generation of something comes out, the something becomes beloved later. Maybe the Pokemon franchise and Star Wars franchise can be used as a case study for generational gaps and conflict, because they're eerily similar to the generational gaps in real life. Heck, maybe in 10 years, people who grew up with the Star Wars sequels or the modern Pokemon games will defend them to their dying breath. Videos like why the Star Wars sequels are a masterpiece or hashtag Galar confirmed will become a fad. And because of this similar franchise history, both franchises have similar fans, so let's talk about them.
All craft, pull up!
Take a base of action. Green group, stay across the holding sector of each other.
Admiral, we have enemy ships in Sector 47.
It's a trap.
Chapter 6 The Split Fans. You've probably heard this one before. True Star Wars fans hate Star Wars.
Let me tell you guys how much I fucking hate Star Wars. I hate Star Wars so much that I only like Empire Strikes Back.
Well, I think true Pokemon fans hate Pokemon also rings true, because these two franchises are very similar in their whining and toxicity with the fans. And before I continue, I'll get this out of the way. Constructive criticism is not toxic. Making a detailed and structured video essay with evidence to back them up is not toxic. Whining and being a dick to people if you don't agree with them, attacking and bullying actors on social media, now that is being toxic. Anyways, do you feel your YouTube comment section or Reddit thread or Discord chat is dead? Here's a quick solution to fix it, just follow my footsteps. Step 1. Name a Pokemon game or Star Wars movie that you hate the most and the reason. Step 2. Watch the fireworks. I think Pokemon and Star Wars are like the only two fan bases I can think of that divides the fan base into segments as multiple parties, sort of like politics. Yes, politics is just a figmentation of the Star Wars and Pokemon fan bases. For Pokemon, you have people constantly arguing about which generation of Pokemon is the best or worst, and which region is the best or worst. How dare you call the Alola game shitty? You just hate hard bosses. How dare you call the Unova game shitty? You just hate ice cream Pokemon. Here is an accurate recreation of my comment section in the Pokemon videos.
I should have known.
Sword and Shield sucks.
Anakin.
Alola bad.
From my point of view,
Unova sucks.
Millennium.
Stupid. On the Star Wars side, there's constant bickering about which trilogy is the best. How dare you call the prequel shitty? You just hate George Lucas. How dare you call the sequel shitty? You just hate feminism. Makes me fucking sick. Even though I rank Star Wars movies in this order, I enjoy all 11 films and just like to sit down and watch all of them. But no, Star Wars fans are more divided than the Warring States period of China when it comes to which trilogy to worship. Can you think of any other franchises that aren't Star Wars or Pokemon that are more split than my home country? Like, let's say the Mario franchise. I highly doubt if I say, I think Mario Odyssey is the best. In the comment, there will be 50 comments replying saying, we're from the cult of Mario Galaxy, and you're wrong, and you should die, you fucking whore. No, even though everyone probably has different favorite Mario games, most people probably enjoy all of them. Or can you imagine the Harry Potter fanbase divided and at each other's throats over which book or movie is the best? No, they're all unified on making fun of J.K. Rowling's lunacy on Twitter. On the contrary, Pokemon and Star Wars fans are the most masochistic fans in the entire world, especially for Pokemon, where Star Wars is just usually one admission fee for a movie or Disney Plus subscription. Pokemon fans just keep buying mediocre games annually non-stop, then after purchasing, complain about it on the internet. I bet 90% of the people who wrote the angriest YouTube comments on Sword and Shield trailer video bought Sword and Shield when it came out, and that's how Game Freak gets away with it all the time. How about instead of buying it and whining about it, just don't buy the game, or be like me, complain about it but capitalize through YouTube ad revenue. Oh, and that's not enough. They also make bullshit rules like Nuzlocke, Wedlocks, Wonderlocks, or whatever lock to make stupid games meant for children to be more challenging. Nuzlocke? More like Ballock! Why can't Star Wars and Pokemon fans just get along and enjoy all the games and movies? Gosh, I feel like Bill Burr when I rant about the Pokemon and Star Wars fans.
What are you talking about? I don't know. I just don't understand what the big deal was with
those franchises.
Look how old you've become.
Something far worse has happened to you.
Chapter 7. The Complaint Tubers. And because of this, I think Pokemon and Star Wars are the prime target for those YouTubers. You know what I mean, right? As in, those YouTubers. I think there should be a new subgenre of videos on YouTube that is differentiated from your typical video essay YouTuber like me, and that is Complaint Tubers. What is a Complaint Tuber? I'll define it as a YouTube channel that flourish only because of them getting famous for complaining about something, and the only videos they make are videos complaining about one thing. And I think Pokemon and Star Wars are the two biggest franchises that are perfect baits for complaint tubers. Based on my experiences, I'll say Pokemon Sword and Shield and Star Wars The Last Jedi are like the two pinnacles for bait for complaint tubers. Like, can you imagine any other type of medium that is like the Gen 8 Pokemon games or Episode 8? Oh shit, I just realized Gen 8 and Episode 8 are both 8. And the best generations of Pokemon and the best episodes of Star Wars are both 4 and 5. Coincidence? I think not. What factors make the dynamic a duo so riveting for the fans and YouTubers? For Last Jedi, I think it's things like Luke Skywalker's story, the subversion of expectations, the deconstruction of the previous Star Wars lore, and the feministic undertone of the movie. For Sword and Shield, I think it's the national dex crisis, the graphics, the high quality animations, and the lazy map design. And let's be real, these are topics that create entertaining videos for people to talk, complain, and debate about, don't you agree? But I'm concerned some people just take things too far, almost to the level of toxicity. Like, some of these complainers milk some topics more than Disney does with Star Wars and Game Freak does with Kanto. I don't like calling out people, so I won't mention the name, but there are some people making 50 fucking videos on why Rey's a Mary Sue, why Kathleen Kennedy sucks, how feminism destroys Star Wars, how Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau hates the sequels, despite the sequel references and homages in Mandalorian and Clone Wars.
But what they really want is order.
How Disney kills Star Wars. Just knock the fuck off, people, we get it. There is constructive criticism, which is different from these people being toxic and way too cynical. repeating themselves like a broken record. For the other side of the coin, there are complaint tubers who made 50 videos on why Sword and Shield sucked, how Pokemon series died after Gen 5, why Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl will suck even though we barely know about the game yet, and etc. Look, I know Game Freak are lazy sons of bitches, but some of you are more lazy than them by rehashing the same topic 500 times. But despite my distaste for all these toxic complaint tubers who probably just make these videos for easy ad revenues or views and not for passion, I really can't blame these people or call them scummy because these videos do well. How can I blame or criticize someone when they're, after all, just doing what people tell them to do? What do I mean about that? It's just simple economics, folks. There's just a high demand for people complaining on YouTube because 99% of the Pokemon and Star Wars fan bases are made up of
bunch of bitchy little girls.
So there's a high supply of videos complaining from complaint tubers.
Exactly, supply and demand, my friend.
So here's food for thought. Which came first, the fans or the complaint tubers? Are these complaint tubers complaining in videos a result of the fans' outcry? Or are the outcry of the fans like a herd group mentality from the result from the influence of complaint tubers complaining? Like, who made the outrage? Also, who's at the fault here? The obsessive fans that expect too much, or the incompetent creators that make the mediocre content?
The chicken or the egg, Superman?
I really don't know the answer, to be honest, but I believe you fellow Jerrycans can make the call. Chapter 8, Star Wars, Pokemon, and me. Now, you're always gonna say, but Giram, you yourself are a complaint tuber, you dumb fucking hypocrite. You literally made a video titled, Why Modern Pokemon Games Suck, and got most of your small amount of subscribers from that video alone. You're just as guilty as any other complaint tuber. Well, that's fair criticism, and technically I'm complaining right now about Star Wars and Pokemon as well. But, look, I love complaining like everyone on this site because that's just human nature. We just like to express what infuriates us about what we love to others in hope that people will agree with us. I was born in 1997. I was a Korean boy growing up in Midwest America in the mid-2000s, surrounded by my Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS Pokemon games when Revenge of the Sith was playing the theaters and Cartoon Network was playing Star Wars The Clone Wars on TV. Pokemon and Star Wars are the two franchises that shaped my childhood. So it's no wonder they're still affecting me as the man I am today. I just love these franchises no matter what, so I'm passionate about them. That is why I made a 50-minute long video just complaining about Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, my least favorite Pokemon game, or why I made Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi video after watching the season finale of The Mandalorian. I just want Pokemon and Star Wars to be better. And I'm joking when I say I hate Pokemon or Star Wars because I really do not, and my critiques come from love. I love these franchises so much, so I hope they do better no matter what. You know the saying, sex sells. Both Game Freak and Nintendo have been living up to that, but I also think I should coin a new term by saying complaining sells. Complaining in these cells on this website. Look at all my past videos. The video literally titled Why Modern Pokemon Games Suck does the best, and videos titled Classic YouTube Mario Animation Retrospective doesn't do well. Complaint tubers are so popular of the algorithm. The reason why videos with a terrible clickbaity title like Star Wars The Last Jedi, a complete cinematic failure, gets 9.6 fucking million views is because of the algorithm. I just think many people have the same experience as me growing up, so they have the similar anger and passion sometimes, so complaining sells. And even though constructive criticism is great, many YouTubers fall down the slippery slope of becoming a toxic complaining tuber because their complaining videos do well. That is something I want to avoid. You know how I mentioned some YouTubers make 50 fucking videos based on one topic? Well, I would like to avoid doing that, so you're never gonna see a Why Modern Pokemon Games Suck Part 2 from me, unless I get a really good idea of that warrants another video. Also, the reason why I made the USUM review over 50 minutes long was because I wanted to get out my distaste for that game in one video, so that can be my only video about USUM. Of course, I might joke about or mention USUM in future videos, but why Pokemon Ultra Sun Ultra Moon sucks is my final video solely about USUM. Anyways, I'm sorry for going on a tangent like that, but I think I'm trying to strive better to be better than most.
A diet in the Force. like life itself, unseen for generations.
Conclusion, they will never die. And no matter how much I talk shit about both Pokemon and Star Wars, there will always be good things in them. Even though war Star Wars films like Attack of the Clones or Rise of Skywalker have shining moments with scenes that make them be worth a while, and lazy games like Sword and Shield or Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon have positives to them too, like the characters or the world building. Because I don't have footage of me playing all the Pokemon games, I can't show you my personal favorite moments from all the Pokemon games, but I can do that for Star Wars. Here's a montage of my favorite 3 seconds from every Star Wars movie. Pokemon and Star Wars are two franchises that are just too big. They're bigger than me, they're bigger than you fans, they're bigger than the people running them, and they're bigger than the creators themselves. We may complain and whine about them, but even if something flops, nostalgia from the past will always maintain it. Eventually, a good thing will come out one day that brings everyone back in. I bet you, most of the people that said they were done with Star Wars at the end of the sequel trilogy eventually broke down and watched The Mandalorian. And I bet you, most of the people that said they were done with Pokemon after Sword and Shield are looking forward to buying Legends Arceus in the future. Pokemon and Star Wars are too big, and they will never die, no matter how much I complain about it, and no matter how much the naysayers complain about it. And that is the biggest parallel between Pokemon and Star Wars. They are invincible. Maybe that's another reason why I keep coming back to it. Two infallible franchises, and we are nothing. Thanks for watching the video. This was originally going to be a short 5-minute video, but it ballooned into a 2-parter because I had so much shit to put in the script. But anyways, to end the video, here's a shitty clip I made with Revenge of the Sith. I originally intended this to be the opening, but it seemed way too slow and I couldn't do an Ian McDiarmid impression, so I decided to cut it. But here it is in full for those of you who might still want to watch it, and you can watch it while the end credits play. Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Omori the Rushed?
No.
I thought not. It's not a story the USUM stands would tell you. It's a Game Freak legend. Darth Omori was a dark director of the Pokemon games, so lazy and so scummy, he could use Pokemon to influence the games to create mediocrity. He has such a knowledge of cutting corners that he could even release the same game year after year. He could actually print money from the games. The dark side of Pokemon developing is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be underwhelming.
What happened to him?
He became so lazy. Only thing he was afraid of was developing another game, which eventually he did. Unfortunately, he was taught by Masuda the Gen 1er. Then he gave in to the Kanto pandering. Ironic. He could develop a half-baked game, and it would become one of the best-selling Switch games.